Boys, I am fired up for this one. We got Fancy versus Big Tay. This is a rematch of I believe it was the Ultimate Kickoff semifinal matchup. And Fancy coming into this game is the number one seed. And Big Tay is kind of the surprise story. Now, I actually picked Big Tay, I think, to get this far when I originally picked the MCS Madden MCS playoffs on my channel. I think I picked Big Tay, or I picked Big Tay to at least get the Clef, and then I thought Clef might take him out. But anyways, Big Tay, TJ ends up necking off Clef, which allowed Big Tay to knock off TJ in a crazy game. And now we get this semifinal, this AFC championship, this NFC championship. We're going to have, I think, Cowboys and Eagles out here. I think Big Tay is an Eagles fan. Anyway, that being said, let's just take a look at the comparison of the two players, right? Not even really close. Fancy really broke through this year. Has been the best player all year. 2 belts this year, 11 majors appearances, and also $500,000 earned. And if he wins, if Fancy goes on to win Madden Bowl, there is a serious conversation that is going to start to be had, because he's going to win. I think if he gets to Madden Bowl and he wins it, I think he's going to be at $750,000, which I think is going to put him either third or second all time in earnings. And with 2 belts and a ring, the second only ring, this dude's just been really good this year. Love watching him play. He's really the father of switch stick. He's the best switch stick in the world. And yeah, super fired up for this. Big Tay is going to be in U-Trips, which I think if there was an offense that can give switch stick some trouble, it's U-Trips, because U-Trips has really good spacing. But Fancy, really, seriously, he's going to win games really because of his defense. Like, going into this matchup, he is going to win games because of his defense. So he is going to start the ball on offense. If you're Fancy, though, I will say low-key, you want to play with a lead because you want to force him to have to pass. So Fancy is going to be winning games with his defense. One of the things coming into this matchup that I feel like we need to talk about is just kind of the schematics coming into this. You're going to see Fancy probably going to be in the Eagles offensive playbook. That's what he's been in for a while. He won his first belt in Colts, and then I think he won his second belt in Lions, but has kind of landed in Eagles for really the majority of the latter part of the year. And he's going to be running a lot of normal wide close, trips tight and flex. Those are kind of his 2 main formations. And I got to say, this has been kind of a cool competitive year. We've seen a ton of relevant offenses, defenses. I think we've seen over 15 playbooks on the MCS stage. I think we've seen over 7 different defenses ran on the MCS stage this year, which is crazy. You just don't see that a lot. But anyway, yeah, you are going to see Fancy in the Eagles playbook. So the big thing about this playbook, number one, you have play action blocking with a short post right there. You also have another play with a little cheat flat. And that play also has a return route. And then that play also has a short post over the middle of the field. You also have wide sail with the stock fade and a deep corner. This, in my opinion, I think this is still the best offense of the game. A lot of people really like Niners or Saints because of doubles of flex close. But I personally really still like Eagles. Also, Big Tay coming into this matchup, you're going to see kind of a mirror match defensively, very similar defenses to one another. Big Tay is going to be either running crossfire is going to have that guy come in that gap, or he's going to run kind of the disengage pressure off of that gap. Those are really the 2 main defenses you're going to see, both based out of cover 4 shells, both really centered around switch stick and a double safety go defense. And Fancy going to start off with motion halfback angle wheel. This is a super underrated route combo. I actually have to add this to my playbook. So this is a speed out. He's going to stem this up to about 10 yards. Now what the meta is, what most people run is a cover 4 with a hard flat. This hard flat is really the key to this route combo. So what you can do this year is if you use an outside receiver on a drag and the slot receiver on an out, this flat will actually play this route because it's a lower route and it's a hard flat. So watch how this defender is going to get isolated in this combination here. And you see how he bites just a little bit here before he's going to go back to the flat. That's going to give us all the space we need to be able to attack with the speed out. Nice read from Fancy to start the game off and really just attack that cover 4. I think really the key for Fancy is efficiency on offense. That is his biggest key. When his defense is going to get stops, I'd be shocked if it didn't. He's got the best defense in the world because he has the best switch stick in the world. So the big thing for Fancy coming to this game, no D-line picks, be efficient offensively, try to get layup throws. Big Tay against TJ gave up a lot of layup throws, a lot of underneath stuff early. So you see this is an example of that. This combination, this is pivot seams. You're just going to stem this all the way up. It's going to almost run like kind of like a fade from the slot. You got this little 5 in out here. Really, we're just isolating this defender. If this defender goes back, we're going to throw this. If the defender squats on this, we have a chance to hit that against cover 2. And then we have a backside post and a pivot over the middle of the field. So really kind of a smash returney type of play. And you see here, see how the read, it's right here. He should throw this out route on time over here every single time. That's where the ball should be going to the out route. We'll see if it ends up going over there. Fancy kind of late. So because he's late, he can't throw it. So now he has to come back and work this combination over with that return route. He's able to hit the return route and really able to keep the ball moving. I think Fancy's one of the more systematic players you're going to see offensively, which kind of plays into the need for this to be very, very efficient offensively. And kind of a weird play. I don't even know what that is. It's just kind of really a high-low. Not a great play, my opinion. Going to just take a sack. One of the things Fancy does do really well is he will really good pocket presence. He'll step up into sacks. That way you don't lose 5. You really only lose 1. Here's going back to that motion angle wheel. The speed out is open again. And that's where I say, like, Fancy's a very efficient, very systematic approach. You're going to have to stop what he does. He's not just going to call like a ton of bad plays. Seam streak to the tight end, not able to catch it. I'm telling you, that seam streak is so much better wide side than short side. I feel like wide side, you could throw it against anything. Short side, if they have a quarter, you're pretty much going to get mid-zone KO'd every time. Have a high-low read there. He's a drag underneath. And again, to me, that's a layup throw, right? Just 5, a couple yards in front of the quarterback, right in front of my face. I just checked down to that drag. And here's red zone combo. We got a drag. We got an in route, short post. This is kind of the standard. Really reading this flat here. He plays the flat, running back open on that cloud flat isolation. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and goal. So pretty balanced drive for Fancy here so far. Big Tay is doing decent. He's keeping everything in front of him, forcing a red zone possession. I think that's all you can really do this year, unless you're Fancy. Unless you have a good switch stick. And really, you're going to see Fancy kind of play similarly. And there's Perry just being a big boy and getting in there. So that's going to be 7-0 for Fancy, and the ball is going to go to Big Tay. First drive for our U-Trips master, probably best U-Trips on the year, goes to Big Tay. He is in a semifinal matchup. Haven't seen U-Trips in a semifinal matchup of an MCS playoff or Madden Bowl scenario in a while. So the last man to play Fancy in a big game in U-Trips in a big type of game scenario, D-Croft back at Madden 21 Club Championship. Fancy beat D-Croft in that one. We'll see what he's able to do against Big Tay. Big Tay coming out with 40 Lions. Laporta is kind of the main player that you're going to see him kind of really capitalize on. Julius Peppers, this guy's a dog on both sides of the ball. Going to be dropping into coverage a lot. And here we go. There's the draw. We already missed one play because of the broadcast crew. And almost missed the second play. Big Tay's going to play really, really, really fast. And he's going to try to quick step and get Fancy in bad defenses. The core of Fancy's defense is essentially a crossfire loop here with a cover 4 base shell. If that's not going to be the blitz, he's going to go with this down B gap where he can drop Julius Peppers into coverage and send 3 and get pretty good pressure against play action. So here we go. We're setting it up. There it is. You see, there it is. Boom. And Big Tay going to go to the draw again and get out of there with about 20 yards. So I think 3 plays. We've gotten 2 runs for 25 yards. I think he probably threw like a little whip rat or drag over the middle first play. Again, Fancy wants you to pass. If you have to pass every down against Fancy, it's going to be hard to beat him because his switch stick is just so good. But here we go. Big Tay going to go with a pass. Good switch by Fancy. Good check down to the comeback on the backside from Big Tay. And again, most of what Fancy does, let me just explain, kind of his base coverage shell. We get a look at it here. So again, this is Fancy. Like, this is what he's going to do. Like, I promise you. It's going to be very much the same shell the majority of the game. It's going to be cover 4 hard flat on both sides, quarters right on the outside. One of these guys is typically going to be on the middle third, and typically it's going to be the strong side player on U-trips, and he's going to switch to him almost every time, and he's going to run him back into position. He's going to use him to cut different routes based off what you put on the field. So these two safeties are really the safeties to watch out for, and essentially they're going to play like mutual inside quarters. There you see Fancy drops to one, drops to the other one, and good play by Big Tay to take that check down on the backside. One of the things that I think Big Tay is really just not a great matchup for Big Tay Fancy is because of how Big Tay plays. And you'll see it here. I'm going to go back to the draw. One of the things that's the key to the game for Big Tay, in my opinion, make the game easy on yourself. Try to limit how Fancy can use switch sticks. If you're trying to throw big plays down the field, that's not going to work against Fancy. You really need to horizontally dot him. And just like that right there, that's a horizontal strain. Really nice read. There's that cover 4 again. Cover 4. There's the inside quarter. His user's down here. He has to bite here. This is a great read. Throw it right in the seam area of the field. Very nice. And Big Tay is looking good. That's exactly what you need to do to beat somebody like Fancy. You have to stress the best defensive players in Madden 25. You have to stress the defense horizontally as well as vertically. You have to stress them horizontally, though, because the switch stick feature, if you actually think about what the switch stick feature is good for, it's really best for corners, crossers, post routes, some of those deeper routes over the middle. We want to try to, realistically be more horizontal than ever before. And here we go. And he's out of there. Fancy with a big pick. Let's take a look at what actually ends up happening. And again, this is why I love Fancy. Watch what he does here. This is so interesting. But it's literally hard flat, quarter, maybe a middle third, maybe a yellow, right? But I mean, look, flat, quarter, right? What does Big Tay do? It's really a nice route combo. He's just late. Like, if you actually let's watch this play like in real time. He's going to be late. So watch how this kind of plays out. Fancy backs this guy up, so this is a middle third. Okay, he backs him up. Why does Fancy back him up a little bit? Because one of the main money throws here is this tight end streak quick. That middle third will play that when you back him up. So anyway, the point here is look how late this throw ends up being. Super late in the play. And again, if I'm Big Tay, like, what are you really seeing here is what I want to know. Like, I think he stays here too long. This is obviously going to be open. I mean, it's a great play. Like, this is what I'm saying. This ball has to be thrown right now. And because it's not, honestly, it's a great play call. It's open. Everything's right for Big Tay. He's just too late. He's a step too slow, and Fancy is there, and it's a pick 6. And that can sometimes be the difference between a really good drive and a pick 6. Like, it was just a little slow, a little step behind. Fancy's right there on it. Really nice play defensively. But honestly, Big Tay cooked up a dot. He just was too slow hitting the read. But that's huge. In a game like this, more games in Madden are lost than they are won. And Big Tay very easily could have lost him the game on his first drive. When he was cooking, when he had the right play call, he just didn't execute it well. Right? Comes at the end of the day, comes down to execution. He made the game easy for himself. He got that flat, pulled out by that flat. Right there, wide open. He just misses it. He's just late. And here we go. Second drive. Going to start out with a draw again. And when you see someone calling a draw this many times, this is his 5th time calling the draw, tells you a little something. The respect for Fancy switch stick is real. And we'll see what happens here. Cover 4 shell again. Quarter. Nice playmaker up the field. This is a really nice playmaker. And honestly, Fancy here, there's nothing else for you to use her. Like truly, you got to get here. And I think he's trying to, but he's out. He's just not. He's in no man's land. Fancy gets caught in no man's land. And this is a byproduct of like it being a very, this is all happening in 3 seconds. It's hard to it's really hard to anticipate a playmaker like that. So it's a good play by Big Tay. But Fancy, this is the whole strategy of his defense. Keeps it in front of him. Keeps everything in front of him. Makes you work. There's a switch onto it. There's that's why Fancy's really trying to. What's interesting is with Fancy's base shell, if you really look at what he's doing, he's primarily trying to stop a couple of key things, and then he's going to use switch stick to stop everything else. That was one of the things that he's trying to stop. You see, there's that quarter, there's that switch on the post. He'll give up the scramble. He's not too concerned with that. Again, you keep everything in front of you. The whole idea is trying to essentially put a box, if you will, around the offense and trying to keep them in that box and make them work up and down the field. There's a switch stick onto that route. There's the comeback route. Nice read by Big Tay. And Big Tay's dotting now. Big Tay's in the game. It's like you go out and play in the Super Bowl and you get laid out on your first drive, and all of a sudden you come out second drive, you're ready to ball. You realize it's really just football. Big Tay's dotting right now. And there's the draw again. And this is perfect for Fancy. This is what Fancy wants you to do. He wants these red zone stops. This is what I've been talking about a lot throughout this tournament. This is one of my biggest philosophies this year on defense. The best way to get stops, in my opinion, is to bend but don't break, force you to get into the red zone, force you to make a good play in the red zone at about the 10-7. This area is really hard because you can't really run the ball here. You still got to pass. Fancy's going to jump at 6-1, basically running the same defense he's running. And there he just gets outflanked and gives up a layup. This can't happen if you're Fancy, in my opinion. This cannot be the throw. And that's where, I talk a lot about that, like that idea of layup throws. That's a layup throw. I mean, that is such a layup throw. You close your eyes, you complete that every single time. That's the easiest throw in the world. You cannot give that up down in the red zone because guess what that does? Now it's first and goal from the 3. Big Tay, a lot of runs that work from first and goal on the 3 here. So, kind of bad red zone defense in my opinion from Fancy there. Just, giving up a flat route, it's like the most basic route. We can't give that up. All right, here we go. First and goal from the 3-yard line. Pistol tight wide flex. I love this formation. It's got an RPO in it. It's got a counter. It's really good. Got a hitch right on the right. Good defense from Fancy. Force a throwaway. And really, that's just kind of a broken play. That's what a lot happens down here in the red zone. So these broken plays, you're trying to – it's so easy to turn the ball over here. This is such a key area. That's why you see him go to the halfback zone. But, ooh, that's unfortunate for Fancy and very fortunate for Big Tay. Fancy just doesn't get a shed. Fancy's in a goal line formation. All right, here we go. So – Big Tay did exactly what he needed to do. He needed to go down. He needed to get 7. This keeps him right in the game. He gets ball at halftime, which is a significant advantage to him because, when you get the ball at halftime, you're really never out of a game. And now some pressure shifts back to Fancy. Are you able to execute up and down the field? You got a free touchdown on the pick 6. Your first drive, you had to kind of work a little bit. Let's see if Big Tay is able to make him work here. Jet touch pass. Love this from Fancy. Again, just trying to make the game easy. If you're not calling a jet touch pass at least once a drive, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. It makes the game so easy when you're able to pop a jet touch pass for 20, 30 yards down the field. Here you're going to see, and this is what I like about Fancy's offense. You watch him play, it's going to be the same plays, man. He is just going to out-execute you. And he's so fast with his reads. Able to go to wide sail, stem the corner down 1, drag the slot, quick snap, boom. Going to go wide sail, double streaks. Look for that tight end. There's that quick throw. Catches that, and that's a huge drop, actually. Nice KO from Big Tay. And he's going to get him on a 4th down. This is huge. Big Tay kind of goes with a sellout, all-out blitz, trying to kind of force. You know what's crazy, though? I talk about this a ton. Fancy's a progression. Like, the way he reads the game is progression. If you wait just a second longer, that's probably a first down. That might even be a first down. His user's there. I get it. people love to throw this. I feel like this is not really that open anymore. I feel, I mean, it is, but it isn't, you know? It's like it's open, and if you get the right animation, he catches it. But I feel like 8 out of 10 animations, he doesn't catch it. Now he's on fourth down. He's going to call a really bad play, in my opinion, and he is going to throw a pick. That was one of the worst plays I've ever seen. And thank God for him, he tackled him because that was a terrible play. What in the world did he call? Okay, so he goes over to. Uh, more Madden games are lost than are won. 4th and 6. You have a stop. Okay. He gets ball at half. Big Tay gets ball at half. This is a big down. For him to quick snap this, I mean, I guess like we have a high low here, but I just hate this play. I really like. I mean, I can see it a little bit, but like, what? Like, what? There's so many other plays that are better than this. There's so many other plays. Call PA snag, man. Look at this. Big Tay sends 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I mean, it is technically open. Like, you should be able to possession that right there. But he's not. And it's lucky that's not a pick six. I just felt like an example, right, of 4th and 6, got to have it down. We're calling PA. I don't even know what that play was. I just felt like it was a really bad play call. But he's the number 1 seed for a reason. And normally, I just didn't like that play call at all from him. And Big Tay, there's a nice switch stick from Fancy. Almost gets the pick. And Fancy's going to lurk one of those. Like, if he, that's what Fancy is going to leave stuff open to jump stuff, especially in the intermediate seam area, seam streaks, corner routes, out routes. He's going to jump stuff like that. He'll jump this running back corner. Good defense from him. There's a sack. And this is what Fancy does best. This is, and I honestly feel like if you watch Fancy's belts, the game against Dez, kind of similar offensive situation where he gets stopped and it's really kind of odd. Oh, nice route from Big Tay. Wow. Okay, so this is the John Beast play that John ran a lot. It's got this little like swirl route, which like stops and then delays over the field, and he's got this little wheel. And basically, there's just no yellow zone on the field. Not a single one. It's a great play by Big Tay. And now we got a ball game. I tell you what, man, I give Big Tay some credit, man. I feel like Big Tay, if you look at all the games that Big Tay and Fancy, with the exception of the Clef game where I don't know what happened in that game for Fancy, but every single MCS game that we've seen this year, I think Big Tay has had the most success against Fancy offensively. That being said, it's always Fancy gets a pick or Fancy gets one lurk, right? But Fancy kind of called a bad play, got himself in a bad position, and here we go. There's that running back short corner. Fancy's a huge fan of that route. Again, I really believe the way to move the ball this year, the way to play offense this year is more of a horizontal high-low game, kind of constraining that cover 4 underneath a little bit more. Yeah, these plays are, I mean, I get it, but this is such a long developing play. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just dead. Like, that's just no way. These aren't very good play calls. Not sure why he's doing these long developing plays. Big Tay's sending 5. He's sending 4. You know, he's going to send them. There he's sending 6 there. You know, there's another drop. I mean, Big Tay's bagging, and Fancy's not playing his best game. Offensively, Fancy's not looking good. Everything's difficult for Fancy right now offensively. Here we go. It's a good play. Post route, open, and there we go. And just like that, Fancy's back, and he's out of there. And Kind of got caught up. Almost got a touchdown there. That could have very easily been a touchdown. That's that idea I was talking about, like missed tackling, those big plays. And here we go. Fancy kind of needs 7 here, because Big Tay's gonna get this ball back. There's that drag. Love that play. And see, that's what I don't understand about Fancy this year offensively. I feel like that there are some moments throughout the games this year that I've seen Fancy play, and I've thought this about every single game I've watched him play, where offensively he looks just, I don't know, bad is the right word. It just looks like uncomfortable plays, and then like he'll just immediately be back into a good combo. Right there, real quick, I did want to highlight this. This is the difference between Fancy's pick 6 and Big Tay's touchdown. Look at this. It's the same idea. It's a flat that's going to pull this out, and we're going to hit this in this little pocket. Watch when Fancy throws it. This is actually even a better user than what Fancy had. But look, Fancy throws it on time, every time. Boom, touchdown. It's a huge play for Fancy. But I think I really believe this. I've watched Fancy play a lot this year, and I've really tried to study him because he's the best player in the world. I feel like there have been moments where he will look like, I don't know, I hate using this word because he's such a good offensive player, where he looks like just inept or like just lost, or like he's cooking up like the most complicated route combination ever, and then he'll get sacked or he'll get a throw out of sack or like something bad will happen, and then it's like it snaps him into gear and he gets back to like his good play. So I don't know. I just feel like I've seen that a couple times from Fancy where it's like he almost, I don't know what the right word would be, like goes into a lull a little bit or just gets into a weird spot offensively where he's not playing his best offense, and then he'll get stopped or he'll throw a pick or something will happen and then he'll just snap back into it. So I don't know why, but I just feel like I noticed that, and that's probably because I do the same thing. There's if you watch me play, there'll be 2 or 3 plays a game where it's like, what in the world are you doing? You don't make offense so hard on yourself. Anyway, all that to say, he's the number 1 player in the world, but just my thought. And let's see if he can get a stop here. 3rd and 4, minute 36 and a half. Big sack right there. That's a timeout. Not a timeout for Fancy. He's going to let the clock run. Interesting. I kind of understand why. Big Tay going to go flat route, whip route. Ooh, flat. Okay. Option wheel. Free play for Big Tay. Free play, sadly. Fancy had the bag, too. Oh, that sucks for Fancy. Just kind of ran into that guy a little early. Free play. Here we go. 4th and 2. Big down. Gotta have it if you're Big Tay. This is huge. And he's going to throw that comeback. That's a KO. And Fancy gets a huge stop. So this is the KO. Again, this is what I was talking about with Big Tay. Like this is so what I was talking about with Big Tay. If we back this up, I don't know how we back. There we go. Okay, come on. Here we go. Okay, look at this. So he threw this on the first drive. He has a touchdown. Again, this is the second time I think he's had a touchdown on this play. He just missed it because Fancy switch stick. He's respecting Fancy's switch stick. Fancy would normally just top this and it would be dead. Watch what Fancy does. He bites because he thinks it's a post. I don't know why, but anywho, or he's just biting on the streak in general. I don't know, but he bites. So at this point, this could potentially be a touchdown. The one underrated thing, though, is Fancy might have deep end zone KOs here. I don't know for sure. Anyway, Big Tay's been throwing this all game long, this comeback. He's late on the throw. Look, he's just a little late, just a little bit late again. And it could be a little late, could just be bad hash mark, could just be lucky play. In general, Fancy gets a KO and a big down, a big moment. And that's a huge, huge play in the game. That's a huge play because now Fancy is able to potentially go up 2 scores before half. I love the jet touch pass call here. Give yourself something. Make him have to defend that. Make him have to respect that. That's good stick work. Almost able to get out of there. Not able to. Brings up a 2nd and 13. Just a very close play. Could have gone honestly either way. I don't know for sure if he was late on that. It seemed like when I watched it, it was a little late on the throw. Not a lot. I'm talking like milliseconds late. But tough throw. It's a tough throw to make, right? It's a tough throw to make, but is what it is. Oh, nice throw. Wow, what a throw. This is really nice by Fancy. So this is a cover 2 beater, and he's going to get the cover. cover two. You see that bite right there. So at this point, Fancy's here. Now he's kind of looking here. He sees that bite. And this is a nice free form. He's going to free form it up and to the left here and really just put the ball where only his receiver can catch it. And that's a huge touchdown. This is what we've seen from Fancy all year long, where he'll go through these games and his offense will look a little off. And it's really just, I think it's really just he calls a couple bad plays, or he calls plays that are too long developing. I don't know. Or he's going for his, kind of like Kiv, where Kiv can sometimes go for like, I'm going to catch you in cover two. So I'm going to, right? I'm going to call like a very hyper specific play for a hyper specific defense. But then what Fancy's been able to do all year long is whenever his back's against the wall, his defense has gotten him stop after stop after stop after stop after stop. Every single time he plays bad offense, his defense plays better in these games. It's crazy to watch. Anyway, here we go. Crossfire, good switches, and Fancy's in control now. He's 2 scores up. He's in full control here. He needs to finish this half. And really, if you're Fancy, I think finishing this half essentially equates to don't give up a touchdown. You can give up a field goal. Field goal's not that big of a deal. You don't want to, but it's not a big deal. But you do not want to give up 7. Good switch sticks there. There's another pick. Lurked him again. And again, this is Big Tay getting antsy. This throw's open. Take your throw, take your field goal. That's what Big Tay needed to do. Instead, what's funny is you would have literally got the same amount of yards. He's late here, right? And it's just hard to read. I think this is just Fancy's defense in general, how good a switch stick is. This isn't very complicated, guys. It's cover 4. It's cover 4 with clouds. It's not complicated. We got 2 wide open players. Instead, we step up. We think we popped him because he switched here. Well, guess what? He's the best switch stick in the world for a reason. And he switched back there, picked. Huge pick because guess what? Now Fancy gets into field goal range and he's going to go up 17 points before halftime. That might right there very well could have lost Big Tay the game. That one right there. That pressing, that forcing stuff. That's what Fancy feeds off of. If you're going to beat Fancy, this is why, okay, there's a reason why Clef was able to beat Fancy. Partially could have been maybe Fancy didn't come into that tournament as locked in because he had already made Madden Ball. I don't know. But more than likely, if you watch Clef play in that Zero Chill tournament, what made Clef's offense so hard to stop, I don't love that call. Hopefully he can get a field goal here. He might be out of range. Okay, you can get it. Never mind. Justin Tucker's hand. What made Clef's offense so dang good in the Zero Chill event was it was horizontal. It was, I'm going to take my 5 yards every time. Horizontal, horizontal, horizontal. And Fancy couldn't stop it. I think Clef dropped 37 on Fancy. You can't throw post corners and crossers and beat this guy. It has to be underneath routes. Anyway, that's going to be it for the first half. Fancy dominating in a game that really he hasn't even played that good in. All right, here we go. Second half action. Fancy versus Big Tay. And Big Tay, this got to score. This is stay alive drive. Got to score drive. Goes that post again. Good read. But again, what's interesting about that read is that's 50-50 picked. That's 50-50 picked because you're basically guessing. Is Fancy going to jump it or not? Anyway, here Fancy, another offsides. The second one of the game, I think. Got to be a little better on the user there. Can't have that in these big games. And that's just that's a byproduct of Big Tay's fast pace, his tempo, him snapping the ball quick. There it is. Good read to the running back. That right there is how you're going to beat this guy. It's those underneath throws that he's going to give you. And you have to be disciplined to take them. That's why I think John Beast matches up well against Fancy because John will just, paper cut you all day. So we'll see. Here, Fancy busts a coverage. Tried to lurk him, missed it. I'm not sure here. This is where Fancy sometimes kind of gets in these, I can cover everything with my switch modes. And I feel like here, it's truly like he's trying to lurk here. He's trying to bait this throw because he knows that's a streak. So what Fancy's trying to do, which is what he actually almost does here, is he lurks here. He lurks here just a split second too long. He needs to get here and take this away. I mean, this was open for a little too long. Maybe he's close, though. I mean, he's still close. And Big Tay's able to catch him over the top for a touchdown. That's a big touchdown for Big Tay. Again, stay alive moment. That's where sometimes Fancy, because his switch stick is so good and so lethal and gets so many turnovers, I think sometimes he can overdo it in situations where he's got a 3-score lead. Big Tay's been struggling. So, in general, obviously it's gotten him 3 picks, so it is what it is. But I do think in that specific scenario, with that specific route combo, he didn't have to, he didn't have to run it that way. I think he could have easily just, given up the comeback or, so anyway. But it's all happening like in 2-3 seconds. You're making judgment calls, you're jumping routes, you're making decisions. So I mean it's hard. It's the reason why his is my switch stick is not on anywhere close to these guys' levels. So anyway, jet touch pass for Fancy again. I think he's literally called a jet, and that's what Fancy's doing. Like he's called a jet touch pass every single drive. That time I got him a free 9 yards. What does that do for him? Makes the game easier for him offensively, takes more clock. Right now we're in the position where Fancy's trying to close the game out. Big Tay goes back to this nickel 3-3. I hate this. And that's why I hate it. Like the Fancy been setting this up all game long. So if you didn't know, Master Tactician, what you can do is when you audible to this play, you can make 1-2 hot routes real quick. I love this combo from Fancy. It's actually a good play. You have a short post on the back. It's basically PA snag, honestly. You have a short post, but then you're faking a jet sweep as your flat route. Anyway, what happens here is I don't think in general he didn't run commit, but for whatever reason, like play action just got bombed. I don't know. He didn't run commit. That happens on that play sometimes if you press. Sometimes those deep blues. Again, we saw this in the Big Tay game against TJ. I don't think this nickel 3-3 was even remotely effective, and he goes to it, and I mean he gives up a touchdown, he gives up a big jet touch pass run, and again, Madden games, football games, they come down to turnovers. Fancy has three interceptions. Comes down to explosive plays. Fancy has gotten a couple of really explosive plays, and it comes down to tackling. Right, that at the core. That's really what the games come down to. And so, Fancy's kind of dominating in that category. He's up 17, playing really good defense here. We'll see if he's a little more disciplined. Getting the KO there. And if I'm Fancy, I just run that every single play. He will not be able to score consistently if we're in cover 4 drop every play with hard flats running good pressure. He just won't. You got the best switch stick in the world. Throws right at it. There's a KO again. That's why mid-zone KO is so important. Every single defender should have mid-zone KO. If that's not mid-zone KO, that's probably a dot. And you're seeing Fancy absolutely cage right now. See if he gets him on another third down here. Good read by Big Tay. And notice, again, what's open for Big Tay? It's these underneath. Here we go. 1st and 10. Ball on a 31. Got him again. Yeah, got him again. You can't. I actually love this. Is one of my favorite plays out of U-Trips, low key. It's slot out, but you put the tight end on a crosser, like a short crosser. This could also be stutter curl seam. I actually think it is. Yeah, this is stutter curl seam. So he just flat in route and then stemmed this up or streaked him. Anyway, the point being, if you're Fancy, what are you trying to do? Yeah, like what are you trying to do? I think that just is a mistake. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I think it just made a mistake at the end of the day. And again, we talk about explosive plays. How's Big Tay hanging around? 2 really explosive plays. If you watch the first matchup between Big Tay and Fancy, he had 3 touchdowns. Every single one of them was an explosive play. Every single one of them was. So that's kind of, that's kind of what we're dealing with here. I mean, you're in complete control of the game twice, and 2 touchdowns in the second half have been 1 play scores, and really just hate to criticize him because he's gotten 3 picks, but like they're like fairly unnecessary switches, just based off situation. But anyway, move on. Jet touch pass again, first play of the drive. Why? Make the game easier. He's on conservative, right? Just trying to make the game easier. I don't think it's it's interesting to me that Fancy's doing it every single time in an MCS game against a top tier player. I probably wouldn't do that, but consistently once a drive or so. Gonna fit that tight end seam string. There you go. That's a big catch for him. That's normally KO. That's what I was talking about earlier in the video. You get a couple animations your way, and that's a dot. Sometimes you get that animation, sometimes you don't. It just kind of depends. Anyway, I'm gonna go to tight end spot, dude. Big Tay is Big Tay is sending everybody. He sent 6 right there. Gonna go pivot seams here for Fancy. Speed out on the left side, tight end post. Look for that speed out. Had it, missed it again. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like that throw. Maybe that guy can lurk it occasionally, and he just stays away from it. Anyway, nice read to the post over the middle of the field there. All right, here's that crazy route combo. And surprise, he took another sack. That route combo hasn't been it yet. Go chew clock. Is chew clock on? Oh, yeah. Okay. Tight end seam streak. Ooh, got him again. Dang. That's the second time he got him. So right here, Fancy goes. I mean, it's literally, he just catches him in cover 2 again. If you're Big Tay, what are you doing? I mean, I guess you're sending everybody. But, and honestly, that's probably why Fancy called the last play, was to try to catch him in cover 2. Caught him here. Boom, touchdown. I mean, it's, Big Tay is, I think at its core, like, Big Tay's overextending because he's trying to get a stop. He's trying to really get a stop quick. And that's part of the benefit of what Fancy's defense provides him, right? Which is critical as I was of the last 2 possessions of Fancy's defense. His defense did get 3 picks in the first half, which has provided him a buffer offensively to be able to, basically Big Tay's forcing the issue again and again and again. And, Fancy's making good reads under pressure and hits the sail route, hits the glitchy fade right out of wide sail. All right, let's see. Excuse me. Let's see if Fancy's able to get back to the good defense. That's what I want to see. Like, that's better. Make him take the underneath. That's more what Fancy normally does. 1st and 10 as a running back. And now Big Tay's hitting it now. A little too late now. And honestly, a big portion of what's going on right now, 17-point ball game. Clock plays a big factor into what routes Big Tay puts on the field and what coverages Fancy's running and how Fancy switch sticks those coverages. Like, that's a very underrated element of what's going on here. Which is why I was so critical of the 2 one-play scores. I felt like situationally, you didn't have to do all that. And here we go again, another big play. Gosh dang it, man. Like, you can't blame, like, what? I don't know what zone that is. I want to say it's an inside, but like both fan out so much. Like, that could have been deep pass, but I don't know. I don't know what that was. Regardless, Big Tay has 21 points in the second half from 3 big plays, from 3 busted coverages. 21 points. Like, I feel like Fancy is objectively not playing that great defensively. It's just he's made a couple really good, like really amazing plays. I don't know how to word it. Like, it's just surprising that he's given up so many big plays when I don't feel like he really has to. And here we go, onside kick. This is going to be the big thing here. Big Tay's already going to start trying for his own sides. Goes with the high kick, catches the high kick, and now we have a ball game. And now you're going to see, I guarantee you, Fancy's going to tighten up defensively, and I bet you money that he's going to switch stick pick him or he's going to play better defense. I promise you, Fancy's going to play tighter defenses here. Right here. Here we go. And there's a flat layup throw. But good read. Yeah, I love onside kicks being this effective. They're not this effective in real life, by the way. Anyway, here we go. Almost got him. That was right there. He's right there. Fancy's right on him. I'm telling you, he's going to tighten up defensively. Situationally, this is how it always goes. He kind of makes a couple plays, And then all of a sudden he's like back and he's just like locked back in. Like the caged. Like absolutely caged. Perfect switch stick. Like that's what I think's so funny. Like look at this. This is a cage. This is the same play that Big Tay scored the touchdown on. This is the same play that he scored the touchdown on. This is Pat slot out again with the fade or stutter curl, same, either one. But you have the short crosser. And look what he does. He switch sticks onto the inside quarter, lurks this backside in route, and then he switches back here, lurks this route, and then he carries it. Look at how good. Like this is what I'm saying. This is what drives me nuts. That's why I was so frustrated that he gave up another big play. Like, look how perfect that defense was. Just insane. Just insane. It's like when if Fancy keeps his foot on the dang gas defensively, I don't know anyone that can really seriously move on him. Like I haven't seen it yet this year. I have not seen someone just except Clef. I guess Clef was the only one that I really and you know, again, who knows how. I didn't really even get to see that whole game. I just saw the score. Anyway, there's perfect defense again. There it is. That sucks. That's perfect defense. That's why he's frustrated. He's talking to the camera. That's perfect You can't play defense. I mean, I guess he could have stayed on it, right? But I mean, here, look, I think he meant to go here. I think he 100% meant to go here and take that away completely. He calls I don't know for sure if that's a cloud. It's some type of deeper flat zone, whether it's a curl flat, a cloud flat, I don't know. But this is going to play this corner, so that's dead. Technically, Big Tay could check down here and probably get the first down. He throws into 4 people. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he catches that ball. And they all have KOs, by the way. So, I mean, that's just a fortunate play for Big Tay, and that's what you needed to get back in this game. You got a fortunate onside kick. You got a fortunate throw right there. And now, you know, this is where we see it. So, Fancy, Sun 4. Again, it's a cover 4 every single time. There's a cloud. He can't animate for the interception. That's the 3rd time he's gotten fortunate in about 4 plays. That's perfect defense again from Fancy. Runs cover 4, but then cloud flats that tight inside corner. Here we go, cover 4 again. Great read from Big Tay. See, if you're Big Tay right here, this is why I want to see you go back to that horizontal. That horizontal game, you have plenty of time now. Like, you just need a touchdown, and you're right there. So this is like, you got to have it. Big play drive. He gets a free play here. He's going to force it, throw it. It's probably a touchdown. That could have very easily been a catch. Fancy is falling apart defensively. Like, the unfortunate stuff, the mental, like, this is very much so like Big Tay's got a really big shot right here to get back in this ballgame. This is a huge drive. Fancy's got to clutch up, get a stop here. And really, like, he's been right there again. Gets a possession animation. You see Fancy's really frustrated. Like, he's really, really, really frustrated with how it's going. Again, Big Tay got very fortunate on a lot of things that happened on this drive. Got to lock up. First and goal from the 5, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Good sack there. That's a huge sack because now Big Tay can't really run the ball. And this is what Fancy, this is where Fancy really shines defensively when you have to pass, especially down here in the red zone. There's another sack, another shed for a sack. Almost got a fumble. 3rd and goal from the 9. Very easily could have been a fumble. Probably why Fancy was so frustrated. Going to audible to trips. Going to get the wheel route and the stem down post combination. He's looking for that wheel route against cover 2 on that left side. This is a tough defensive call here. He is going to go cover 2. That wheel route's going to be wide open every single time. That is one of the most basic red zone combinations in the game, and that's one of the biggest. That is one of the biggest dots of Big Tay's career. Check it. Look at this. You call a post route. You hot route a post. You stem it all the way down. It runs like a little sharp slant. Watch this cloud flat. If they cloud flat here, he will get manipulated every single time. Watch that cloud flat. That cloud flat thinks he is a quarterback spy. He runs all the way in here, and now you've got wide open real estate, touchdown, Big Tay, and we have a ball game. He needs one stop. He somehow needs one stop in this ball game. Dude, this is crazy. Fancy played better defense. I predicted he would get a switch stick pick or something crazy. He did not, but he did play better. Gonna go onside again. Why not? And this is actually a really good onside because if you don't get it, it's a shorter field for Fancy to work. Fancy's gonna get it. You go score touchdown. You go score a touchdown, he's going to get caught. The fact that he got caught is bad for him because not only does it take the touchdown off, but now he can't clock the game out. That's like perfect for Big Tay. That he is getting so fortunate in this game. Like that is exactly what you want to have there. All right, here we go. Little RPO bubble screen, nice bubble out there to the left side, nice juke. That's a huge touchdown for Fancy. Like that's like a sigh of relief. Okay, we can breathe. And Big Tay is like, oh, that was like my stop. That was my play. Yeah, this game is a crazy game. This is a crazy game, boys. A lot in here. A lot that kind of, I don't know, man. A lot to be learned from this game. It's a nice RPO bubble situational call there. And really nice, honestly. This is going to be like a couple yards, but again, missed tackle. Missed tackle. Huge missed tackle. All right, here we go. Fancy needs a stop to finish this out. And there's that again. And that's what? He's 3 for 3, 4 for 4 on that. I mean, every single time he's hitting that. Fancy doesn't, I mean, if you really look at his defense, it really doesn't adjust that much. It's basically cover 4 every time. And he's got it timed with the pressure and the switches, and it's obviously elite, but it's the switch stick, it's the pressure, it's the knowing what's going to be open and how I fix my problems. Cover 4, good playmaker, missed it. That's what worries me about the John Beast game is if Fancy does ultimately match up with John Beast, I think John Beast is really good with the playmaker, and that could give Fancy some issues. Anyway. There we go. Corner route. Not there. Good check down to the drag. Missed tackle. Missed tackle. First down. Missed tackle. That's huge. He dove on bounce too, by the way. Didn't fumble. Shout out to the dolphin dive. There it is. Oh man, Fancy just can't put him away. I think that's why he's so frustrated. Is like he has just not been able to get the knockout punch that he wants to finish the game. There's that middle third. He's going to switch there. Oh, man. Big Tay had the corner. Yeah, there's a lot in here, man. But really, it comes down to, this is what I think is interesting, but it's like at the highest of level. Look at this. This is basically the show. I'll show you off of the pause here. I don't know what Fancy's doing with his user. Like he's out of position here. Okay, crossfire. So take a look here. Actually, he kind of adjusted a little bit. Never mind. That's be a KO. It is 3rd and 10. That was a cover 2 to the right. He kind of rolled to the right there. You'll probably see his bread and butter coverage here. All right, here we go. Got to have it down. 3rd and 10. What's Fancy going to go to? Vert hook. Quarter. Switching onto this guy. Jumping the tight end. And good KO. Sometimes that can actually be a catch, crazy enough. Have your Big Tay, what do you do here? Do you take 3 and go for the onside? That's what he's going to do. Going to cut this to a 7-point ball game. That's why that touchdown was so big for Fancy. Because now if he gives up an onside, Big Tay still has to go score a touchdown, ultimately. There's John. Gonna kick it deep here. Yeah, I guess you have to kick it deep there. That's kind of an interesting decision by Big Tay. He really believes he could stop Fancy for 10 yards here. Which, I mean, situationally, you're in a tough spot. I mean, just the way, 60 seconds basically. But he kicks it deep. This means he has to get a stop basically right here. I mean, 1 or 2 first downs, the game's over. Going to go with a fake jet touch pass. Good call by Fancy. Big Tay doesn't fall for it. He gets sacked. That's exactly what he needed to do. Now, Big Tay is right there with him. He is right there. This is kind of a low key, not really a rivalry for Fancy, but for Big Tay certainly is. Big Tay wants this one. He definitely wants this one. This Fancy knocked him out of, I think, the ultimate kickoff. Oh my gosh, good KO. 3rd and 16. And Big Tay is playing really good defense. He really is. These windows are tight. What do you call 3rd and 16? Got to have it down. Not in a bad spot. Like you kick it, you're not. It's okay, right? It's not ideal. It's okay. Gonna go to the 5-out play. Running back should be there. Good read. That's a great read. So this right here, this is why they call this play. It says pivot seams out of doubles close. What you have here is you have this kind of fade, right? Slight fade to it. So if this is a quarter, this quarter is going to jump this route just enough that you can throw this route right in here. And then if they cover to you, then you could either hit that or you could hit that. And then also you have, if they, let's say they switch stick to it, if you look here, you see he's going to have that speed out there as well. And then this is kind of just a backside check down read. But that's really the main route that you want to hit against a cover 4. Gets it perfect rack or perfect catch animation for him, able to go down and put himself in a position to get out of this game. This has been a crazy game, crazy semifinal matchup, crazy tough game, and Big Tay definitely up for the challenge. It's going to be GG's. That's going to be it. Fancy's going to move on to the finals against John Beast for the Madden Bowl. Don't know who's going to win that one. Don't know who's going to win that one, but Fancy gets it done in a game that I felt like he didn't really play his best. So we'll see if he brings his best to the game against John Beast. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys want to take your Madden game to the next level, make sure you join our school community. Both Madden and College Football 25 ebooks are all in that school community. You get everything I know about both games for just $10. That link is going to be in the description down below, and we'll see you in the Madden Bowl.